Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Since Sarah has officially given me the podium for the rest of the day, let me officially announce you're exempt from all of your assignments. You can use your cell phones, and you can walk out of the class and enjoy a beautiful day if you like. That, ladies and gentlemen, is an example of misleading the audience, and it violates one of the key pillars of ethical communication. What are these pillars? So the 4 pillars of ethical communication include truthfulness, honesty and fairness, confidentiality, integrity, and respect for others. Through the course of this presentation, I'll be talking about do's and don'ts that you can implement in your professional life revolving around these pillars of ethical communication. Moving on to the first one, truthfulness, honesty, and fairness. These 3 words are self-explanatory. So what you need to do is ensure that all of your work is based on factual information, that you're honest in your written and verbal communication, and that your approach is always accurate and well balanced. That would mean even if you have a bias towards a certain opinion, or you hold an opinion that you would want other people to believe in, when you're presenting information, just make sure your approach is well balanced and that you've taken into account pros and cons of both sides. The do nots would be: do not deceive, do not plagiarize, obviously it can lead to disastrous consequences, and do not mislead. Now there's a really interesting story about the subtlety of what constitutes as misleading your audience. I started this presentation by giving you one example. Another one would be, there was an ad in a newspaper that said, there's this love potion that could exponentially increase your attractiveness to the other gender. Now, for someone as unattractive as me, it was like a dream come true. I could immediately imagine myself walking on the beaches of Ibiza with two gorgeous women in my arms. But as you may expect, that did not come to happen. The reason was, the advertisement had a fine print, and that fine print said, this is a placebo. Now how many of you know what placebo means? See, majority of you don't know what placebo means, and that is exactly what the advertiser intended. They, instead of using plain English language to say, hey, this is just a sugar-coated pill, it's not going to increase your attractiveness, this chose the word placebo. This is misleading. And Catherine Riley, in her journal, Telling More Than the Truth, discusses the maxims of ethical communication. This violates the maxim of manner, which states that any communication directed to the audience should not be ambiguous. That, ladies and gentlemen, is why I developed trust issues. Confidentiality. It is of utmost importance that you remain confidential with your work and with the information that is only intended for you. Now, I realize working in the financial district on Bay Street, you might be tempted to talk to your friends about that $1 billion deal you signed. Word of advice, don't do it. Even if you're sitting with your significant other or your family members, just make sure you're not sharing information that would breach your non-disclosure agreement. And every organization that you're going to work for is going to present you a non-disclosure agreement that you're going to sign. Protect other people's information. If your colleague or a co-worker or your manager confides something in you, it is of utmost importance that you don't share it with others. The do nots would be, don't blow a whistle. Don't be a whistleblower. If somebody tells you something, make sure you keep it to yourself. And if you have a hard time doing that, you might want to take that protective gear for whistleblowers. Do not share confidential information and try not to breach non-disclosure agreements. Unless there is an opportunity to trade secrets for $1 billion and you're ready to face the consequences by spending some time in jail, who cares? You have $1 billion in your account anyways. Integrity. Always make sure that you uphold your contractual obligations, no matter what they are, and give credit where it's due. You'll find yourself in positions where you will have the authority to make decisions. For instance, your team is working on a project and during the meeting, somebody presents an idea. Now you want to be the first one to rush to your manager and tell him it's your idea. But don't do it. Because when it happens to you, you will realize how violated it makes you feel. Protect the rights of others, be it in terms of respecting their beliefs, be it in form of giving them credit, or any rights discussed by the Human Rights Charter. Do not jeopardize professional welfare of anyone. Do not command. And by that I mean, do not dictate authority in an offensive or an authoritative manner. There are two ways to ask someone to do something for you. You can say, can you please do this for me? Or you can just simply command, I need this done in 2 hours. I think the former approach yields more results because other people feel respected, just like you would want to feel respected. Do not take credit for someone else's work. That's the worst thing you can do in a professional environment. You will get opportunities where someone will discuss an idea informally with you, or someone will discuss a project informally with you, and you can take credit for it, but do not do it. Respect for others. Practice inclusiveness. Now I've seen examples where you're sitting in a meeting and you feel that the idea your colleague is presenting is absolutely ridiculous, but you should never snub that person. Listen to him, tell him what your disagreement is, and make sure you let him voice your opinion. Be courteous, talk to people, appreciate their ideas, appreciate their input. The comic says, this really is an innovative approach, but I am afraid we can't consider it. It's never been done before. Value diversity. No matter how different other people's beliefs are from yours, value diversity. Do not snub other people, do not discriminate, and do not form a predisposition. So you've just joined a team and the scenario is, in your first meeting you realize your knowledge and your expertise is far, far more than the person who's sitting in front of you. It may lead you to form a predisposition about that person, that he's not capable enough. But do not do it. Because I remember when I had an orientation at CIBC, I got to meet the CEO and he discussed a story with us, which included, if you feel you're the smartest person in the room, you're doing something wrong. And the reason is, unless you appreciate other people's ideas and listen to them, you'll never improve. So the takeaways. As Sarah discussed in her lecture 2, the International Association of Business Communicators has a code of ethics. Do's and do nots of pillars of ethical communication that I have discussed in this presentation. Confidence that if you follow the guidelines that I have highlighted in this presentation, you'll do good. And best wishes from my side. Thank you for being such